All right, let's get right into it. When you picture Marcus Aurelius, you probably think of this, like marble statue of an emperor, right? Totally untouchable. But what if I told you his most powerful lessons? They don't come from his strength at all. They come from a secret he never, ever wanted anyone to know. We're going to peel back that myth and find the real guy underneath. And it all starts right here, with the complaint that is so human, so relatable. It's almost kind of shocking. I mean, can you imagine? You've got the weight of the entire known world on your shoulders, and your first battle of the day is with your own blankets, just getting out of bed. This one line, you guys, this is our key to the whole story. And that's the kicker, isn't it? I mean, the guy struggling with the snooze button wasn't just some random dude. We're talking about the most powerful man on the planet. He had the biggest army, the most land, more money than anyone. And yet, what was he writing about in private? Not power, not glory, struggle. So, okay, what was in this journal? We call it the Meditations now. But you gotta understand, this wasn't some grand book of imperial decrees or battle strategies. Nope. It was just a raw, completely unfiltered look into his own head as he was trying, really trying, to just be a good person. And this is maybe the most important part. He wasn't writing this for you or me. There was no audience. He wasn't performing philosophy for likes or retweets. He was practicing it in private. The guy wrote the same stuff down again and again and again. Why? Not because he had a bad memory. It's because he needed to hear it. He needed that reminder every single day. Okay, so this reality, it completely clashes with that modern, Instagram stoic vibe we see everywhere. The whole be an emotionless rock, crush your feelings, be in total control thing. Yeah, that popular version has basically nothing to do with what Marcus was actually doing. Let's really break this down, because this right here, this is the whole shebang. On one side, you've got the myth, right? This flawless, emotionless statue. But the reality for Marcus, it was the total opposite. It was a daily, messy struggle. He wasn't floating above it all. He was in it, like deep in it, getting annoyed, feeling scared, fighting off temptations. For him, Stoicism wasn't some shiny trophy you put on a shelf. It was the workout, the thing he had to drag himself out of bed for every single morning. And man, what a workout it had to be. Look, if you really want to get his philosophy, you have to understand the insane pressure he was under. He was writing this stuff to himself, usually alone in some freezing tent on a war-torn frontier. This wasn't philosophy from an ivory tower. Just look at this. This gives you a taste of the chaos he was dealing with. A plague that killed millions of his people. Brutal, endless wars. He had to bury several of his own children. He was in chronic physical pain. Oh, and yeah, he was also trying to run a massive, corrupt, and complicated empire. The context here is everything. He wasn't writing this in some cozy, quiet library. He was forging his philosophy in the middle of a hurricane, basically just to hold himself together. So what was his darkest secret then? What was he so afraid of? It wasn't death. It wasn't losing a battle. No way. What really, truly terrified him was what absolute power does to a person. He was afraid of becoming the kind of thing power creates, hard, cruel, out of touch. He was afraid of losing his humanity. That journal, that was his weapon, his defense against his own power. It was how he fought to keep the human parts of himself alive. And that brings us to the actual tools of Stoicism, because what Marcus shows us better than anyone is that these aren't just, nice ideas you believe in, they're tools. Practical, difficult tools that you have to pick up and use every single day, especially on the days you really, really don't want to. Take the most famous one, right? The dichotomy of control. Sounds so easy on paper. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't. Simple. But what you're seeing here is the real work. It is not a one-and-done thought. It's a daily, grinding, exhausting negotiation with yourself. It's the active practice of letting go of stuff you care desperately about. And Marcus did this every day for 19 years while he was at war. 19 years. That's the commitment level we're talking about here. And it's the same thing with memento mori. Remember, you will die. We hear that and think, wow, that's dark, morbid even. But for Marcus, it was the exact opposite. He wasn't trying to bum himself out. He was trying to wake himself up. By remembering, hey, this doesn't last forever, he could force himself to pay attention to right now, to not take this moment for granted. It's not a death wish, it's a life tool. And this, right here, this nails what so much of modern Stoicism gets wrong. A lot of it feels like a performance, doesn't it? Projecting this image of being calm and cool for an audience. But Marcus, he couldn't have cared less about the image. His work was practice. Private, messy, imperfect, repetitive practice. And it was just for him. That's the difference, you see. The difference between building a facade and actually building your character. So this brings us to what might be the most honest and, frankly, the most useful lesson he has for us. And it has nothing to do with being a perfect Stoic. It's all about what you do when you mess up, when you inevitably fail. Because let's be crystal clear about his secret. He failed. All the time. Regularly. Yeah. He lost his temper with people who annoyed him. He did things out of ego instead of what he knew was right. He was constantly falling short of the incredibly high standards he set for himself. And we know this because his journal is the proof. It's the receipt. The evidence of all his failures is right there, written in his own hand. And he began again, every single time. Not beating himself up, not spiraling in shame, but just with this quiet, steady commitment to start over. Let's go again. Let's get back to what matters. And this is it. This is the ultimate secret. The real practice of Stoicism isn't about finally achieving some perfect state of virtue. It's about the return. It's about coming back to it after you screw up, again and again and again. That is the work. And I mean, the proof is right there, isn't it? His empire is dust. But we're still here, thousands of years later, reading his private journal. Why? Because the character he built by returning, day after day, that's indestructible. So look, your empire might be your job, or your family, or maybe it's just the space between your own 2 ears. It's smaller, for sure. But the practice is exactly the same. It's that daily negotiation with what's hard. It's that choice to be the person you want to be. So the question Marcus really leaves for us, for you, is a simple one. What will you return to today?